Today, the Ministry of Health began administering COVID-19 booster shots to healthcare workers and persons 60 years and older. If you fall in this priority group, please set an appointment to be inoculated. We also urge persons who have received their first dose and are due their second and final shot to do so. And if you are unvaccinated, we make a special appeal for you to be responsible and take the vaccine. Let us return the country to full productive capacity as we make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise.
Jamaica's COVID-19 vaccination plan is still in effect. If you wish to make an appointment, please do so online by visiting moh.gov.jm or by calling 888-663-5683. Vaccination still a keep. Go get your jab today.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, December 13. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging the remaining 30% of Jamaica's tourism workers to get vaccinated. Mr. Holness reasons that this will secure the sector against further fallout from the global COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Holness says tourism remains the heartbeat of our economy, and there is a need to carefully manage the industry.
There is no room for complacency, and I want to emphasize the need for all Jamaicans, especially our hardworking tourism workers, to get themselves vaccinated, to shield themselves, the guests, and of course, their own families and friends with whom they must interact every day. I understand that the vaccination rate among tourism workers is moving towards 70%. And that's very high and very commendable.
Mr. Holness made the comments as he opened the Ocean Eden Bay Hotel in Trelawney recently. The investment is the latest property under the Spain-based H10 Hotels chain and marks Jamaica's first accommodations opening since the start of the pandemic in March 2020. The resort is a 5-star all-inclusive facility with 444 suites, meeting facilities, and convention services, as well as a range of sport and entertainment options. A booster shot of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine is being offered to persons 18 years and older. The measure, which took effect today, can be given to adults 2 to 6 months after the initial first dose was administered. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is also urging persons who have taken the second dose of Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines to take up the booster shots. The additional shot will be administered 6 months after completing the vaccination process. Already, seniors 60 years and older, as well as healthcare workers, are being prioritized for booster shots. The move seeks to protect key populations at increased risk of severe illness from COVID-19. The increased risk of transmission of the Omicron variant, as well as a lowering or waning of protection, was considered. Persons who are eligible for a booster shot are to visit the nearest vaccination site with their vaccination card and government-issued ID. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF says adequate security personnel will be deployed to ensure the safety and security of citizens during the busy Christmas period. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, gave the assurance at a recent JIS think tank.
In our plans and in our activities as police officers, we generally put more persons on the roadways. And so we tune down administration and we ask many of our officers who do administration work to be out on the streets to complement the police officers that are already on operational duties.
ACP McKenzie says officers who are not restricted by geographic boundaries, such as those in narcotics or the Criminal Investigation Branch, will also be engaged to increase the numbers on the ground. According to the head of PSTEB, police presence will increase in commercial areas where there is increased exchange of cash, goods, and services. Measures are also in place to address the expected increase in vehicular traffic on the roadways, which can lead to collisions.
What we do is to ensure that there's more presence from traffic officers, from highway patrols, and we do a lot of speed checks. We know that it is a happy season as well, and so persons tend to drink a little more. And so our breathalyzer enforcement activities are also heightened.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness is committing his government to creating a balance between environmental protection and urban renewal. Mr. Holness's pledge follows concerns raised by residential communities in the corporate area that the kinds of developments taking place intrude on their privacy, infringe on their property rights, and changes the look and feel of their surroundings. Prime Minister Holness says Cabinet has already begun discussions on the issue, and he will be making further disclosures on the matter shortly.
It doesn't make sense that we renew and then end up with a concrete jungle. So the environmental and governance concerns in the renewal of our city is important. And, you know, we hear the cries and the concerns. We are grappling with the issue, and I give all the citizens, all the residents who have been raising these concerns, the assurance that it will be addressed.
Mr. Holness was speaking at the recent groundbreaking for the $3.7 billion One Belmont Business Complex in New Kingston. And finally, Environment and Climate Change Minister Pernell Charles Jr. is urging greater protection of the island's endemic flora and fauna, which can be used to capitalize on the growing ecotourism sector. Jamaica ranks 5th in the world for indigenous plants and animals, with more than 8,000 species being present. According to Minister Charles Jr., the biodiversity and variety of habitats in which these flora and fauna reside can provide even greater attractions for visitors and locals alike. As a result, he says environmental protection is critical to preserving the tourism product, livelihoods, food and water security.
So we must reduce the several threats to our ecosystems, and biodiversity, including the change in land use, including pollution, encroachment on natural habitats, burning, the hunting and the harvesting of endemic species. It must stop. The black-billed parrot and other exotic pets, over-harvesting of our fish. It's just not a smart way to approach life.
Minister Charles Jr. was speaking during day one of a 2-day National Biodiversity Conference on December 7. The conference was held under the theme Living in Harmony with Nature, Issues, Challenges and Solutions. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
It's officially 12 days before Christmas, and I'm sure most of us are fine-tuning our holiday shopping lists. Here are some things to consider when doing that.
Christmas is normally the best time of the year for many persons, and more so for our shoppers. We have come at a time as consumers that it's a very exciting time, very exciting. We have so many choices. We have so many new products coming on the market. And sometimes we get a little confused as to what exactly to do because we just don't know, we don't have adequate information. Well, we're here to assist you. What we would want you to do is when you make your decisions in terms of your purchasing, this heightened, especially during this heightened period of shopping, that you make informed decisions, one. That two, you don't have much of a regret after purchasing. We don't want you to be scammed. We don't want you to be taken for granted. We want consumers to be very intelligent in their approach to spending the little hard-earned money that they have. At the risk of sounding like a scratch record, we just want to remind you of some basic, very, very basic information that you need when you go shopping. First of all, you must ask for a receipt, a proper receipt. Not just a listing tape, a proper receipt with all the information. And if you are made an offer for a lower price with the condition that we don't give you a receipt, then that is a red flag. Make sure that you get your receipt, because invariably, especially depending on what the item is, there may be something wrong with the item. And if you don't have your receipt, there's no way at all you can prove that you would have purchased this item at this particular place. So you must have your receipts. When you go shopping, also remember, ask about your warranty. Warranty is extremely, extremely important, especially on high-value items, electronic items, those type of items. Make sure you ask for warranty. And while I'm on warranty, there are many places now, I gather, that are offering 1 day or 5 days warranty or just a week warranty. Be careful about those. If it is that they're only guaranteeing that the product will be up to standard for a day or 2 or 5, then that's a red flag also. Walk away and go somewhere else. We have a number of outlets, stores, institutions, shops, whatever you call them, that offer basically the same items. So make sure that you exercise their options. So warranty. And there are times when warranty is included in the packaging. When you look at the manual and the vendors don't offer you that level of warranty, you have to insist on it. The Consumer Protection Act speaks specifically to the warranty being extended by the manufacturers to the consumer. And there are some persons who also purchase extended warranty. I know some of these retail stores do that. Also, make sure that you know exactly what you're getting into when you ask for additional warranty. Because what they will do, the manufacturers may have offered you a 3-year warranty. They only offer you 1 year warranty. And then they offer you the option of purchasing extended warranty. So we are to question those transactions before you actually conclude. Another important thing, you must ask about the return policy. When you go shopping, find out, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't fit? I'm buying a dress for my mother as a gift. What if it doesn't fit her? Can I take it back? Will I get another one? Or will you give me a credit note? What will you do? So find out exactly what is the policy of the store. And the usual thing where you see in our stores, no refund, no exchange, all those type of things. They, by themselves, are not illegal. But as it relates to if something goes wrong, then the Consumer Protection Act supersedes all those store policies, and consumers need to be aware of that. Don't be turned off. Well, for me personally, when I go and see those things, I ask the person, I said, do you really want my money? Because to me, that is very unfriendly to consumers. But then again, depends on who we are in terms of when we go purchasing, how knowledgeable we are. Sometimes, we can argue our way out. So remember those basic things. Check out and make sure you know what the return policy is, just in the event that anything goes wrong. As much as it's possible, examine the products in the store before leaving with them, as much as it's possible. Test them as much as it's possible. We don't want, when you go home, things that you could have seen or you could have, known before you left the store. When you go home, you have a challenge. And then you have to prove now to the vendor that you didn't damage the product So make sure that you take all these steps. Shopping should be an exciting experience, and many times we get a little bit relaxed in our approach, and we're not as vigilant as we ought to, we're not as careful as we ought to. So we're encouraging consumers, while you enjoy shopping, please just ensure that you do some basic checks and balances as you go shopping. And we have a lot of offerings around this time, a lot of sales, a lot of unbelievable offerings. Check them out. Do the math before. Do the math. And the old time saying, if it is too good to be true, then probably it is. So do your due diligence, ask questions. If you have a sale, for example, if something goes wrong, can I take it back? Because sometimes they have conditions while they're having a sale. So you have to check out the conditions. A lot of stores offer free gifts also along with your purchase. Many times those free gifts really don't work very well. The free gift is a part of your purchase. So if it is that you got a free radio, for example, and you go, it's not working, then you need to take it back. Some persons will say to you, but it's a free gift. No, it's a part of your purchase. That was taken in consideration when they determined the price at which they were selling you. So and the Consumer Protection Act also speaks to that. So ensure that the free gifts are also a part of your purchase, a part of the value that you pay for the product. So these are some of the basic, as consumers, security, especially now, is critical. When you go shopping, try not to be bogged down with a lot of bags, and you cannot help yourself in the event anything happens. If you have to take them to the car, lock them in the trunk. Park at areas that are well lit. Go shopping with other persons. Try not to go alone. So that, and always be conscious and aware. Look around you, your environment, know what is happening around you.
Up next, we acknowledge the work of our civil servants who are on call 24/7 and who provide us with well-needed support.
The joy of unwrapping presents, the fellowship of family dinners and get-togethers, the mellow vibes of liming with friends. Feel-good opportunities abound at Christmas. But while most people are off the clock enjoying the festivities, there are others on duty, providing essential services 24/7.
My name is Damon Lewis. I work with JUTC. Since 2001, I have worked every Christmas.
I am Nadine Rowe Fisher. I am a nurse manager at the Kingston Public Hospital. Coming out to work on a Christmas holiday, I have mixed feelings because naturally I want to be home with my family and my loved ones to share the festive season, but the reality is I have to go to work.
It is very important to have fire brigade persons working during the holidays because, as they would always say, it's a silly season. And crazy, unexpected things happen.
Essential service workers like these civil servants are always on call, whether it's a regular workday or the most wonderful time of the year. By necessity, they are required to ensure that crucial services are always available for the people of this country.
To be working on a Christmas holiday, it gives me joy to interact with passengers. It's Christmas and people want to go around with their families or friends to enjoy themselves. Not to say that we don't want to go and enjoy ourselves, but we are providing a service. So it's an important part of our jobs to go out there and deliver what we are supposed to do.
If I'm rostered to work on that day, then we tend to want to enjoy ourselves prior to that day or post December 25th. So just to ensure that we enjoy what is left of the holiday or what is to come of the holiday.
If I have to come to work on a holiday, I kind of tell myself not to plan anything in detail that I'm going to go anywhere that will be occurring at the time when I should be on duty. So it makes it a little bit easier for me.
At the workplace, holidays like Christmas can be hectic for some public servants. Take the police and nurses, for example. Statistics show a spike in road crashes during the festive season, and for nurses, that often means more road crash victims to treat.
You may come, nothing happens, thumbs up for that, but if somebody should really have a problem, you will start to know that they came to the facility and it is closed because everybody went off to have holiday.
These hard-working men and women often have to deal with difficult situations at a time when most people are off enjoying themselves.
There was this child who he went along with his friends to the beach. His parents weren't informed of where he was going. And apparently, according to what was reported to us, he got into some difficulties in the water. And his little friends, they just panicked, they ran, and then they came back and they told an adult what had happened. We actually attempted visitation and it was just sad. He did not pull through.
Corporal Hamilton has a similar story, but with a pleasant outcome.
We were at the station one afternoon when we got a call that there was a house on fire. When we responded and we went to the scene, there was this dwelling house on fire and everybody was just scampering around. So we checked to ascertain as to if everybody was accounted for. They were saying that no, there is a small child that has not been accounted for. And we immediately went into rescue mode. A couple of us went in and we searched the entire building and we found the child on the bed, just huddled up trying to escape the heat, and we grabbed him and we ran out of the building.
Moments like those help to strengthen their resolve, motivating them to keep watch, to provide life-saving services to their fellow men.
I enjoy my job, so I come to work each day and I look for ways and means so I can help to enhance somebody else's life, and I've been doing that for the past 15 years with no regrets.
Brother Hamilton enjoys doing his job. I am one that strives to do my job to the best of my ability. I've always given 100% to what I do.
I love to know that I transport somebody from here to there, and they greet me well, I greet them back, I deal with them the way they're supposed to be dealt with.
Despite this love and dedication, working at Christmas can be hard for these committed civil servants. Still, they rise to the occasion.
To cope and to really survive in this type of environment where there's so many traumas and sad cases, you have to be able to sometimes just put yourself aside and you deal with the situation. Sometimes when you're finished, you have to get a debriefing and you really talk about what really happened.
As firefighters, we can't be too soft in carrying out our duties, because then that would bring our emotional side in too much, which would render us, not doing our duties as effectively as we'd want to. So we have to, grieve with whosoever is suffering that loss and move on.
This Christmas, as you gather with your family to devour a delicious holiday feast, give a thought to the men and women who are manning police stations, treating patients in hospital, responding to fire calls, and safely transporting passengers to their destinations. Civil servants on duty at Christmas.
As we gear up to spend time with family and friends, we share a non-traditional Christmas feast that the entire family can enjoy.
Christmas is foodie paradise. The time when we look forward to our honey glazed ham, or sorrel juice, Christmas cake and pudding and all of that. But we need to ensure that everybody gets their fill at the Christmas table. We need to cater for those persons who are vegetarians or vegans, and for those with chronic illnesses. But how do we do that?
Look at the amount of salt that you're adding to your food. Look at the amount of sugar that you're adding to beverages and to meals as well. And look at the amount of fats that you're using in preparation. One of the things that I always tell persons is, you have a party later on. Remember, it's what you eat for the entire day that counts. We want you to exchange calories.
Things for you to note and to put into practice. Now, I recently learned how to prepare a raw vegan meal. Thank you. And I'm going to show you some of that a little later. And then right after that, you're going to join me here and you will learn how to prepare a traditional vegetarian meal. All right? See you soon.
Today we are going to prepare 3 major entrees. We're going to prepare a basic salad with curried coconut pasta, and we're also going to have some Brazilian nut cheese pate, as well as we'll just touch on some plantain in coconut cream. Firstly, we want to have a source of moisture. Source of moisture could be lettuce, right? Excellent base for your salad. So we have just chopped up some lettuce here. And we want to season the lettuce by just adding some scallion, chopped scallion here. So about 1.5 tablespoons of chopped scallion. And then we follow that up with some chopped sweet pepper, which adds wonderful color to the salad. So I'm adding 2.5 tablespoons of chopped sweet pepper. And then I find also when you have like a source of excitement in your salad to stimulate it, ginger works very nicely as a spice. So just sprinkling a little bit of ginger in your salad here. And then we're just gonna turn it around. We take the medium meat of a jelly coconut, scoop it out carefully so that you're not breaking it into pieces, and then we just shave off the fibrous parts of the back, and then we can just take a slice and we can roll it just like this, And then after rolling it, we want to just slice it thinly. So we start to get these pasta-like strips. To turn it into curry, what we want to do is to add a little bit of curry powder, and the amount of curry you add is based on how curried you want it to be. Then we want to add a little bit of salt to the curry. And then we want to add a little bit of pepper, a half of a teaspoon into the mix. And then we want to add a little oil. So I'm just adding about a teaspoon and a half of coconut oil. And then I'll just simply mix it together. And as I mix it together, notice it's beginning to look like curry.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish.
So what we do, we use here 3/4 cups of Brazil nuts in our food processor with an S blade. And then we simply add 2 cloves of garlic. And then we add a little bit of salt, just a pinch of salt. We're making a cheese, so you do need that salt there. Now we want to just process it to the point where it's smooth but not clumpy. We want to get it fluffy, okay? And when you taste it, it should not be too crunchy either. Then this is our Brazilian nut cheese, which we will then place into a sliced tomato. So here we have husked out the gut of 2 tomatoes, and then we'll simply now fill them with the cheese to give you a Brazilian nut cheese pate.
Not even 1 cent to buy a little toy. We dance and rock it to the ice mounds. We rub it and scrub it to the ice.
And then we just make some thin slices. And we are going to use a little bit of cinnamon powder to just add a little flavor to this plantain. Just a dash of cinnamon powder. And what we're going to do, we have just simply chopped up some dried coconut meat. We're going to place it into the juice extractor so that the cream from the coconut meat will just come out onto the plantain. The trash will come out at the other end. Now we want to do enough coconut so it really moisturizes the plantain. Okay, sort of like almost covers it with fresh, yummy coconut juice. Now just for artistry, place it at the 4 opposing points, thus completing our raw vegan salad, our main course.
This is good. So come in here.
Take your time, take your time.
Wow, can't talk. Too good. So come back later.
And that's where we leave you on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We return tomorrow with another informative program packaged with you in mind. Catch this and other Jamaica magazines on our YouTube channel. Check in with us on our website. Engage us on all our social media pages and be in the know through our mobile app. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you so much for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.